Before you decide whether Elon Musk is a genius, a fraud, a visionary, or simply the luckiest billionaire alive, ask yourself one question. What if almost everything you think you know about him is incomplete? Not necessarily wrong, just incomplete. To some people, Elon Musk is the greatest entrepreneur of the 21st century. They see him as a man accelerating humanity toward an electric future, reusable rockets, artificial intelligence, and even life on Mars. To others, he's reckless, arrogant, unpredictable, and obsessed with attention. Every tweet becomes a headline. Every interview sparks another debate. Every business decision divides millions of people around the world. Rarely has one person inspired so much admiration and so much criticism at the same time. But here's what makes Elon Musk fascinating. Whether you love him or hate him, he has changed industries that many experts once believed could never be disrupted. Electric cars, private spaceflight, satellite internet, artificial intelligence, brain-computer interfaces. Most entrepreneurs spend their entire careers trying to succeed in one industry. Musk jumped into 5. That doesn't mean every decision he makes is right. It doesn't mean every prediction comes true. And it certainly doesn't mean he's beyond criticism. But it does raise an interesting question. How does one person repeatedly attempt what entire industries considered impossible? Today's video isn't about convincing you to admire Elon Musk. It's not about defending him. And it's not about attacking him. Instead, we're going to look beyond the headlines and explore the mindset that built one of the most influential careers in modern history. Because once you understand how he thinks, you may never see him the same way again. The boy who could never stop reading. Long before he became the richest man in the world. Long before Tesla. Long before SpaceX. There was simply a quiet boy growing up in South Africa. Elon Musk has often described himself as an introverted child who spent countless hours reading books. Not dozens, not hundreds, thousands. Science fiction, history, physics, philosophy, engineering, biographies. He didn't just read stories. He studied ideas. His family has recalled that he would become so absorbed in books that people sometimes thought he wasn't listening at all. His imagination wasn't limited by the world around him. While other children dreamed about becoming athletes or movie stars, Musk became fascinated by questions that most adults never even consider. How do civilizations survive? What happens if humanity stays on only one planet? Could technology solve problems that governments couldn't? These weren't business questions. They were survival questions. Whether you agree with his conclusions or not, this perspective would shape every major decision he made for decades. Curiosity became an obsession. Many successful people are motivated by money. Others are motivated by fame. Musk often appears motivated by solving problems that he believes are important for humanity's future. Notice something. The companies he's built aren't random. Tesla focuses on sustainable transportation. SpaceX focuses on making space travel cheaper. Starlink aims to provide global internet access. Neuralink explores brain-computer interfaces. XAI focuses on artificial intelligence. Different industries. One common theme. Each one attempts to solve what Musk sees as a major challenge facing civilization. Critics argue that some of these goals are unrealistic. Supporters believe they're necessary. Regardless of which side you're on, it's difficult to ignore the consistency of the vision. He doesn't seem interested in creating the next social media app or another online marketplace. He repeatedly chooses industries where failure is not just possible, it's expected. The power of first principles thinking. If there's one concept that explains Elon Musk better than almost anything else, it's something called first principles thinking. Imagine someone asks, why are rockets so expensive? Most people would answer, because rockets are expensive. That's reasoning by analogy, accepting the world as it is. Musk asks a different question. What are rockets actually made of? Aluminum, titanium, copper, carbon fiber, electronics. Then he asks, what do those raw materials actually cost? Far less than the price of the finished rocket. Instead of accepting conventional wisdom, he breaks problems down into their most basic truths, then rebuilds solutions from the ground up. It's a way of thinking borrowed from physics. Instead of asking, how has this always been done? He asks, what is fundamentally true? This mindset doesn't guarantee success. In fact, it often leads to spectacular failures, but it also creates possibilities that other people never even attempt. Failure was never optional. Here's something many people forget. Before Tesla became one of the world's most valuable car companies, it nearly collapsed. Before SpaceX successfully launched astronauts into orbit, its first rockets exploded. Again, and again, and again. Imagine investing everything you own into a company, watching rocket after rocket fail, reading headlines declaring your business finished, listening to experts explain why your dream is impossible. Most people would quit. Many investors expected him to. Instead, Musk reportedly poured much of his remaining personal fortune into keeping both Tesla and SpaceX alive during the 2008 financial crisis. It was an extraordinary gamble. Had those companies failed, his reputation might be completely different today. History often makes success look inevitable. It wasn't. At several points, everything could have ended. Success changes nothing about risk. People often look at billionaires and assume they became successful because they avoided risk. But Elon Musk built his career by embracing enormous risks. That doesn't mean every risk is wise. Some aren't. It doesn't mean every gamble pays off. Many don't. The difference is that Musk often seems willing to accept failure if the potential reward is significant enough. This approach has produced incredible successes and very public setbacks. The same mindset that creates innovation can also create controversy. That's why understanding Elon Musk requires accepting two ideas at the same time. He has made remarkable achievements, and he has made significant mistakes. Ignoring either side creates an incomplete picture. But perhaps the biggest misunderstanding about Elon Musk isn't his wealth, or his companies, or even his personality. It's the belief that he simply got lucky. Because when we continue, you'll discover the brutal work ethic, impossible standards, and controversial leadership style that have shaped both his greatest victories and his biggest critics. And once you understand what happens behind the scenes, you'll begin to see why so many people either want to work with Elon Musk or never want to work for him again. The myth of overnight success. If you ask people to describe Elon Musk in one sentence, many will say something like this. He's a billionaire who got lucky. It's a simple story. But reality is rarely that simple. Long before Tesla became a household name, long before SpaceX was launching astronauts for NASA, Musk had already spent years building businesses, making mistakes, and reinvesting nearly everything he earned into new ventures. Many entrepreneurs dream of selling one successful company and retiring. Musk did the opposite. After helping build Zip2, he invested much of the money into a new online financial company that eventually became part of what we now know as PayPal. When PayPal was acquired, he suddenly had more money than most people could imagine. That was the moment many would have slowed down. Instead, he chose something far riskier. He invested heavily in companies that many experts believed had almost no chance of succeeding. One was trying to reinvent the automobile industry. The other was trying to compete with governments in space. From the outside, it looked irrational. From his perspective, it was necessary. Betting everything. Imagine putting nearly all your fortune into two companies, then watching both struggle at the same time. That was Elon Musk's reality in 2008. Tesla was burning cash. SpaceX had suffered multiple failed launches. The global financial crisis made raising new investment incredibly difficult. Some reports suggest that Musk was borrowing money just to cover personal expenses while continuing to fund his companies. Whether every detail of those stories is remembered perfectly or not, one thing is clear. The pressure was enormous. Failure wasn't just a possibility. It was the expectation. Employees didn't know whether their next paycheck would arrive. Investors were losing confidence. News outlets questioned whether Musk had finally gone too far. Looking back today, it's easy to assume success was inevitable. It wasn't. History often edits out uncertainty. But in real time, nobody knew how the story would end. The leadership that divides opinions. Ask 10 people who have worked with Elon Musk what he's like. You may hear 10 very different answers. Some describe him as one of the most inspiring leaders they've ever met. Others describe him as one of the most demanding. Stories from former employees often paint a picture of incredibly high expectations, deadlines that seem impossible, meetings focus on solving problems immediately, long working hours, little patience for excuses. Supporters argue that this intensity is exactly why his companies move faster than many competitors. Critics argue that it can create an unhealthy work environment. Both perspectives can contain truth. Leading ambitious projects often requires extraordinary effort, but extraordinary effort can also come at a personal cost. Understanding Elon Musk means recognizing this tension instead of pretending it doesn't exist. Obsession over balance. One of the most discussed aspects of Musk's life is his work ethic. He's often said that, during critical periods, he worked exceptionally long hours. Whether every estimate is exact isn't the point. The point is that his public image has become closely tied to relentless commitment. He has slept in factories during difficult production periods. He has spent nights at company facilities when major deadlines approached. To many people, that's inspiring. To others, it's a warning. Success doesn't automatically mean a lifestyle should be copied. Just because someone achieves extraordinary results doesn't mean every habit they have is healthy or sustainable. One of the biggest mistakes people make is confusing explanation with endorsement. Understanding how someone succeeds is different from believing everyone should live the same way. Thinking bigger than today. Most businesses focus on the next quarter. Some focus on the next year. Musk often talks about decades. Colonizing Mars. Artificial intelligence. Sustainable energy. Global internet. Robotics. Whether these goals are achieved exactly as envisioned remains to be seen. But the scale of the ambition is unusual. Instead of asking, how do we improve this product? He often asks, how do we change an entire industry? That kind of thinking attracts two very different reactions. Some call it visionary. Others call it unrealistic. History has shown examples of both. Some of Musk's bold predictions have taken far longer than expected. Others have become reality despite widespread skepticism. This is why judging him requires patience. Not every bold claim succeeds. Not every impossible idea fails. The importance of mission. One recurring theme appears in interviews with people who admire Musk. Mission. Many employees join his companies because they believe they're contributing to something larger than themselves. Building electric vehicles. Making humanity multiplanetary. Expanding internet access. Advancing AI. When people feel connected to a meaningful mission, they often accept challenges they might reject elsewhere. That doesn't erase concerns about workplace culture, but it helps explain why so many talented engineers choose to work in environments known for intense pressure. For them, the mission outweighs the difficulty. The cost of ambition. Every extraordinary achievement comes with trade-offs. The public often sees the product launch, the successful rocket, the soaring stock price. What they don't always see are the years of uncertainty behind them, the failed prototypes, the sleepless nights, the financial risks, the criticism, the constant possibility of failure. Elon Musk's career reminds us that ambition is rarely comfortable. The bigger the goal, the greater the uncertainty. And the greater the uncertainty, the more criticism you'll likely face before anyone believes you're right. But if Elon Musk's businesses have transformed entire industries, why does he remain one of the most controversial people on Earth? Why do some people see him as a hero, while others see him as reckless? The answer has less to do with rockets or electric cars, and far more to do with what happens when one of the world's most influential people speaks directly to hundreds of millions of people. He became one of the most polarizing public figures of the modern era, and why his words often create as much impact as his inventions. More than a CEO, at one point, Elon Musk was known primarily as the man behind Tesla and SpaceX. If you heard his name, you thought about electric cars or reusable rockets. Today, that's no longer the case. Now, a single post from Musk can become global news within minutes. His comments are discussed by politicians, journalists, investors, scientists, and millions of ordinary people online. Whether people agree with him or not, they pay attention. That's a level of influence few business leaders have ever achieved. But influence comes with a price. The larger your audience becomes, the less control you have over how your words are interpreted. The double-edged sword of speaking directly. For decades, most CEOs spoke through press releases and carefully prepared interviews. Every word was reviewed. Every statement was polished. Elon Musk chose a different path. He often communicates directly with the public through social media. To supporters, this makes him feel authentic. They appreciate hearing his thoughts without layers of corporate messaging. To critics, it creates unnecessary controversy. They argue that spontaneous public comments from someone leading major companies can have significant consequences. Both perspectives have merit. Direct communication can build trust, but it can also amplify misunderstandings, spark controversy, or influence markets in unexpected ways. Being accessible doesn't eliminate responsibility. Innovation doesn't mean perfection. One of the biggest mistakes people make is believing someone must be either entirely brilliant or entirely flawed. Reality is rarely that simple. A person can revolutionize an industry and still make poor decisions. They can inspire millions and disappoint many others. They can demonstrate remarkable insight in one area while showing questionable judgment in another. Elon Musk's career is a reminder that human beings are complex. Admiring someone's accomplishments doesn't require agreeing with everything they say. Likewise, criticizing someone's actions doesn't erase the value of what they've achieved. Holding both ideas at once is often more accurate than choosing one extreme. Why critics matter. It's easy to assume that criticism only slows progress. But thoughtful criticism can also improve ideas. Throughout his career, Musk has faced questions about ambitious timelines, product quality, labor practices, public statements, and business decisions. Some criticisms have proven unfounded. Others have highlighted genuine challenges that his companies later worked to address. Progress often happens through a constant cycle. A bold idea, public skepticism, testing, failure, improvement, success. Without criticism, weaknesses may go unnoticed. Without ambition, breakthroughs may never happen. Innovation needs both dreamers and skeptics. The psychology of impossible goals. Have you ever noticed how most people set goals they already believe they can achieve? It's understandable. Success feels safer when the outcome seems likely. Musk often appears to approach goals differently. Instead of asking, "Can this be done?" he asks, "If it were possible, what would it take?" That shift changes everything. Rather than accepting current limitations as permanent, he treats them as engineering problems waiting to be solved. This doesn't mean every impossible goal becomes possible. Some won't. But asking larger questions can produce larger breakthroughs. Even if the final result falls short of the original vision, it may still exceed what seemed achievable at the beginning. Learning faster than others. One quality repeatedly mentioned by people who work with Musk is his appetite for learning. He has spoken about teaching himself subjects by reading extensively and asking experts detailed questions. Whether it's rocket propulsion, battery chemistry, software engineering, or manufacturing, he has a reputation for diving deeply into technical details. This doesn't mean he knows everything. No one does. But it demonstrates an important principle. Knowledge compounds. The more you learn across different fields, the easier it becomes to connect ideas that others see as unrelated. Some of history's greatest innovations emerged where different disciplines intersected. The danger of hero worship. There's another lesson hidden in Elon Musk's story. Be careful about placing anyone on a pedestal. When we idolize people, we stop thinking critically. When we demonize people, we stop seeing nuance. Neither approach leads to understanding. The healthiest perspective is somewhere in the middle. Celebrate meaningful achievements. Question questionable decisions. Recognize both strengths and weaknesses. That's true not only for Elon Musk, but for every influential figure in history. No one is beyond praise. No one is beyond criticism. A different way to measure success. Many people measure success by money alone. By that standard, Musk has achieved extraordinary success. But listen carefully to many of his interviews, and another theme often emerges. He frequently talks about impact, about solving problems, about building technologies that could outlast him. Whether or not every project succeeds, his public vision has consistently focused on attempting large-scale change. That perspective invites an important question for all of us. If success isn't only about accumulating wealth, what kind of impact do we want to leave behind? So, after everything we've explored, the childhood curiosity, the relentless work ethic, the bold risks, the controversy, the innovation, what should we actually learn from Elon Musk? Not how to become a billionaire, not how to copy his personality, but how to think differently in a world that rewards those willing to challenge assumptions. In the final part, we'll bring everything together and uncover the lesson that has nothing to do with rockets, electric cars, or social media, and everything to do with how we choose to approach our own lives. The real lesson isn't about Elon Musk. After hearing everything we've discussed, you might think this story is about one extraordinary billionaire. It isn't. Not really. Because the most valuable lesson Elon Musk offers has very little to do with his wealth. It has everything to do with the way he approaches problems. Most people spend their lives accepting limits that someone else created. We've always done it this way. That's impossible. It can't be done. These phrases sound harmless, but over time, they become invisible walls. They shape careers. They influence decisions. They quietly determine how big or how small we allow ourselves to think. Musk has built his career by questioning those walls. Sometimes he's wrong. Sometimes spectacularly so. But every once in a while, asking the impossible question leads to an impossible breakthrough. And history changes. Failure isn't the opposite of success. One of the greatest misconceptions in modern culture is that successful people avoid failure. The truth is often the opposite. Successful people usually fail more often than everyone else because they attempt more difficult things. Think about SpaceX. Before the company became known for reusable rockets, there were explosions, launches that ended in failure, millions of dollars disappearing in seconds. Each setback became public. Each mistake was analyzed by critics around the world. Imagine failing while millions of people are watching. Most of us experience failure privately. Entrepreneurs like Musk often experience it on the front page of the news. That's a different kind of pressure. Yet the response wasn't to abandon the mission. It was to improve the process. There's a lesson in that. Failure isn't always evidence that you're on the wrong path. Sometimes it's evidence that you're attempting something difficult enough to matter. The courage to be misunderstood. Every person who tries to change an industry eventually faces resistance. People naturally defend what's familiar. When Tesla began producing electric vehicles, many doubted that electric cars could compete with traditional gasoline-powered vehicles. Today, nearly every major automaker is investing heavily in electric vehicle technology. That doesn't mean Tesla is perfect. It doesn't mean every prediction came true exactly as expected. It simply shows that ideas once dismissed as unrealistic can become mainstream. Innovation often feels unreasonable until it succeeds. The same principle has appeared throughout history. Many groundbreaking ideas looked impossible right up until they worked. Thinking in decades, not days. One habit that sets Musk apart is his tendency to think far beyond immediate results. While many companies focus on the next quarter's earnings, he frequently speaks about goals that could take decades to accomplish. Whether it's making humanity multiplanetary, advancing autonomous technology, or accelerating sustainable energy, these ambitions require patience. Our world encourages instant gratification. We expect results in days, sometimes even hours. But meaningful achievements rarely happen that quickly. Great companies, great inventions, great discoveries. They often require years of consistent effort before anyone notices. The overnight success story is usually the final chapter, not the first. What you shouldn't copy. This is where many people get the wrong message. They assume that if Elon Musk works extreme hours, then everyone should. If he's intensely demanding, they should be too. That's not the lesson. Success isn't about copying another person's lifestyle. It's about understanding the principles behind their decisions. Curiosity, persistence, continuous learning, questioning assumptions, taking calculated risks. Those principles can apply to anyone. The exact lifestyle does not have to. Your path will look different. And that's okay. Why Elon Musk polarizes the world. Perhaps the simplest explanation is this. Elon Musk challenges expectations. Sometimes that's inspiring. Sometimes it's uncomfortable. People tend to form strong opinions about those who challenge the status quo. Supporters see courage. Critics see recklessness. Supporters see innovation. Critics see disruption. Supporters see vision. Critics see overconfidence. Reality often contains elements of both. The larger someone's influence becomes, the more difficult it is to reduce them to a single label. That's why understanding someone requires looking beyond headlines, beyond social media, beyond short clips, and beyond our own assumptions. So, has this video changed how you see Elon Musk? Maybe, maybe not, but perhaps that's the wrong question. A better question is this: how do you see the possibility? When you encounter a difficult problem, do you immediately accept that it can't be solved? Or do you ask a different question? What if everyone else is wrong? That question has driven explorers across oceans, scientists into laboratories, inventors into garages, entrepreneurs into industries everyone else avoided, not because they were guaranteed to succeed, but because they refused to let conventional wisdom become a permanent limitation. Whether history ultimately remembers Elon Musk as one of the greatest innovators of his generation or as one of its most controversial figures, one thing is already certain. He has forced the world to rethink what's possible. And maybe that's the most important takeaway. You don't have to agree with every decision someone makes to learn from the way they think. You don't have to admire every aspect of a person's character to appreciate their contributions. And you don't have to become the next Elon Musk. You only need to become the first version of yourself that's willing to question assumptions, embrace lifelong learning, and pursue goals that seem just beyond reach. Because every extraordinary achievement begins the same way, with someone asking a question that everyone else was too afraid or too comfortable to ask. If you enjoyed this deep dive and want more videos exploring the minds, habits, and philosophies of history's most influential people, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.